first time ever to the OK conversation with me.
Wonderful, Julius.
Thanks for your patience too. You are a man of time. You are here way ahead of time.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to appear on your show and listen to all the beautiful readings and everything you do here. I'm very, very happy. And to speak to our people, since the weekend we had a very nice, well-attended programs in Banga.
Maybe you should increase the volume.
I was saying that since Saturday, the Honorable Councillor, the Learned Councillor, Telmon Gongo in Banga, announced me to the public to be here vice standard bearer. This is the first public appearance, and I'm happy to be on your radio, on your news media, to share my experience with the Liberian people.
Okay. Who is Dr. Yarkpawolo? Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo. Let me see. Let me get the full name. I always like to call people's full names and list of these kinds of things. That's Dr. K, Dr. Emmanuel K. Urey Yarkpawolo. What does the K stand for?
The K stands for King. When I explain, you know what I mean. Yes. So the K is for King. I predominantly use King, but sometimes also it stands for Kwakaba. Kwakaba in Pella means let us be here. That's my other meaning too. But anyway, let's get started. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo. Emmanuel King Urey Yarkpawolo. I was born in the year 1981 in a small village in Gomo near Shampala, that's Zota district. My mother passed away in 1983, so I didn't get to know her. She was on letter, as my father was on letter. So we were six from our mother. Our father had many wives, and so we went to live with different families. I particularly stayed with my auntie Yarkpawolo in the village. And there we learned I learned how to set trap, how to fishing, how to farm. At some point, I started learning even how to cut palm. So we just lived in the village. It was peaceful and happy without any form of education. I remember clearly in 1989 telling my father that I wanted to go to school. He said to me, next year, which was 1990, I will send you to Jowa to live with my friend because there's no school here. There's a good government school there so that you can go to school. And of course, 1989, the war started. So 1990, there was no opportunity for school now. So we lived on the farm, continued to work. On the farm, one of our uncles, his name is John. John Moba came on the farm, he taught us Christianity. So we learned that the name Emmanuel means God is with us. So I started to give myself that name, Emmanuel, because God is with us. My birth name is Kwakaba. Kwakaba, if you can understand in Pella, it means let us be here. Okay. In traditional Pella society, we don't have a one naming system for the entire family. One is born with your birth name. When you go to Poro, when you come from Poro, you come with another name. So your birth name is your last name now. Your Poro name becomes your first name. But anyway, at that point, I was still called Kwakaba when I started to call myself kind of Emmanuel. But they came me, my friends in the village, for some reason, they gave me the name King. And since then, my parents, those around the village, they still refer to me as that name, King. But anyway, the rebel war came. We all went through difficulties. In fact, some point near conscription into child soldiers and all of that, and running away all the time. But fast forward this story, 1994 was the Urey K war that came from Lofa. That war was deadly, and so we were forced to move into Guinea. So in the refugee camp, we lived there in a better refugee camp. I went further to Yomo refugee camp where I stayed with my sister, one of our sisters. Her name was Gopu. Sister Gopu and her husband Jerry Gote. Jerry is a former AFL soldier. He stays in the Kolta area today. So I live with them, and I told them I wanted to go to school. The war in Liberia seemed to be that there was no end, so they were determined to send me to a French school. As they were getting prepared, I got sick. I went through operation. After that, I got well. While they were getting prepared, trying to find out more about how to go to school in Guinea, Sister Gopo got sick. In about 2 weeks also, she passed away. So that was very sad. So without anybody to stay with again in Yomo, I did return to the Beta refugee camp where I stayed for some time. I told my father I wanted to go to school. He said, "You are too old now, so you need to learn trade." So he sent me to a blacksmith shop to learn traditional blacksmith, how to make collars, how to make hoes, farming implement, and the rest of it. So I went there, and my master, my teacher, he stayed in our client, in the Bakoli client today in Shambhala. His name is Mr. Sumo. So I stayed with Mr. Sumo for a few weeks learning blacksmith, but I ran away. I went back to the camp. This was in 1995 now. I said I want to go to school. My father told me the war destroyed all of my properties, so school year is free, but when we get to Liberia, how are you going to manage? And I clearly remember telling my father that God would provide. Anyway, I started school at the age of almost 14. That's about 13 years, 8 months since my birth when I first started school. And then I was old, so I did not sit in ABC. So I just sat in kindergarten. My classmate is here. He might be tuning to the program right now. Moses Bokokoli. The both of us, we sat down in the kindergarten class. Anyway, fast forward, our vice principal for administration, Mr. Bobby Johnson, and his wife, Gopu Johnson, they took me in to stay with them. They might be listening to the program as well today. They are here in Monrovia. I stayed with them for some time. The war ended in 1997. My father returned and the rest of the family. So I followed them and I went on the farm. We're in Shankbala, which is our bigger town. Our village was destroyed completely. So my father and I, we went and established a new village. I stayed there for about 4 or 5 or 6 months, and I continued to tell him I wanted to go to school. Well, at some point, he took me to stay with Joseph Urey. Joseph Urey is in Banga today. He's also a parent of mine. His wife, Mama Urey. To stay with them, he was serving as a local government official. He was serving as a district commissioner in Belafane, in Zota district. Well, the way they inherited the Urey name was that their father, our grand uncle, name was Molba Kwekwe. So Molba Kwekwe, at the time they were doing road construction by hand, forced labor. He was one of those working on the road. According to the story, at the age of 10, one of the Ureys took him, brought him to Carisburg. He stayed there, and they changed his name from Molba Kwekwe to Molba Kwekwe Urey. So when he got old, he went back and turned the family over to our father. So that's Joseph Urey, Sylvester Urey, Rawa Urey, and all of the Ureys. They were born around Carisburg, and they all started carrying the Urey name. But anyway, so staying with him now, I started to use his name as well. So up to that point, I was using Emmanuel K. Yarkpawolo, but from 5th grade, I started using Emmanuel K. Urey. Anyway, let's continue the story faster. I ended the 6th grade in Belafane and then moved to Banga. In Banga, I stayed there with the late Frances Kumba. She was a revenue tax collector. She took me to stay with her in Banga. There, I attended the 7th grade and I attended the Sugar Hill Community School. Some of my classmates, Marco Peewood or Sidan Gonda, they are in the Banga or Monrovia areas. There, I also served as class president. There, I learned carpentry for 1 year. The rationale was that after high school, and when I'm in high school, I'll be able to work in a wood shop to be able to pay my school fees. So I needed to learn trade. So in the 7th grade year, I started to worship with the Salvation Army. At some point, the pastor and I we got very close. I was very active in the church. So he asked me and I told him a story. He told me to write it down so he can send it to the missionaries in Monrovia. So when he brought the letter to Monrovia, the missionary British Brian Knackley and his wife Dorothy Knackley, the late now, they sent for me. I came to Monrovia, conducted an interview with me. They told me that they had established a boys' hostel, mostly for war-affected boys, and also girl hostel as well. There were 20 boys. Due to funding situation, they were not taking any more. I was the last of making them 21. So so I came to Monrovia in August of 2000. Came, attended Willem Booth, stayed on the boys' dormitory. I taught myself how to type using a very old typewriter. I joined the band, played trombone at the headquarters. But anyway, in 2001, they took me in to stay with them at the church headquarters. There I stayed with them all the way until they got retired in 2004. At that time now, I was in Limbela. I was serving as student council president in Limbela 2004-2005 school year. And there, upon their retirement, 3 days to his travel, he called me his office and said, Emmanuel, we got a scholarship for you. You can go to any school in Liberia. We have had somebody to pay your school fee, but we didn't tell you earlier on because sometimes we bring people in, some boys, they don't behave properly, they lose their opportunity. But for you, you have served us. We were two. My friend Ernest, the adopter Ernest as their son. Ernest passed away as well. May his soul rest in peace. But anyway, so when the left started ended up at Cuttington. So I finished Cuttington 3 years instead of 4. Started September 2005, and by June, I think 2008, I graduated with the Emmanuel class. There I served as class project director and led the writing of the first year book from Cuttington.
One will find it quite difficult to believe, especially at that time, as these schools used to be quite tough to complete in 3 years.
Of course, but I studied very high. I would take up to 21, 22 credits because I could take the credit load. Of course, the money was there to pay for it, but also I studied very high, and I spent a lot of time in the library. Not just I actually, we were two that finished 3 years instead of 4. There's a girl, her name is Angeline. Angeline and I, we finished 3 years instead of 4 because we both started 2005 and finished in 2008. Our class was 2009, but we graduated a year before our class. Anyway, fast forward the story, I went back to Cuttington, got a master's degree in public health, and then I started working, of course, with the Salvation Army. At the time, it was a vocational program. I started there as a warehouse manager, taking care of tools and doing some cleaning of work. My pay was $50 US, but just in few months, the proprietor of the school at the time, Mr. Toy Wisse, he knew. I think he's a judge now. He's somewhere in the southeast today. He's a judge. He realized the potential. He elevated me as program assistant. I started teaching as well, business mathematics, and there as I developed the curriculum for the vocational program for it to be accredited at associate degree program. I started that, but later I got an opportunity to travel to the States for about 2 weeks, came back, through recommendation, I got a job with the Liberian Land Commission. There I work as a program assistant. I performed very well through additional recommendation from Cole Kiddo and other people. I was elevated as administrative assistant to Othello Brandy, one of my mentors, an excellent man who really taught me a lot of things about Liberia and the values of life as well. So there I worked with the Land Commission, started conducting research to inform the land right policy. Then there was, Liberia was implementing the MCC threshold program under the Ellen Johnson administration. The Land Commission was implementing part of that. So Othello Brandy, Dr. Othello Brandy make a case. I went to Ghana, took a GRE, came back to Monrovia, and then I ended up at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, one of the best land and resources institutions in the world, to pursue a second master in the field of political ecology, focusing on natural resource management. Okay. Upon graduation, 2013, I was awarded a scholarship by the university through the professorship of Grant Mittman, to pursue the PhD. So by 2018, I graduated with a Doctor of Philosophy. So I started school at almost age 14. By 37, I have obtained bachelor degree, 2 master's degree, and a doctor of philosophy. I've done extensive travel through of the United States, Germany, and other countries. Came back to Liberia. You are 40? I'm 42 now.
Okay.
So came back to Liberia with the sole purpose of working with civil society and the government to pass a land right law. The law had been stored in the corridors of the House and the Senate since the Ebola crisis in 2014. We work on our law, especially along with a group of civil society, because land is the foundation upon which any country can be developed. So when we talk about dual citizenship, we talk about people of non-Negro descent becoming citizens of Liberia. We thought that giving clarity to land ownership, making sure that land is for the people who have it, because they have been here. We can count the history of Liberia almost up to 700-800 to 1,000 a year, right? The Liberian government is just barely 200 years old. So these people, they've been here for a very long time. So we thought giving them the land right, taking it from the government was very important. So I came back and brought Lendesa as an NGO in Liberia to help promote the passage of that particular bill that was pending in the National Legislature. So I came and then we work along with civil society. Eventually, His Excellency President Josh Weah will sign that bill in September of 2018 into law, published in October. So since then, we've been working in Liberia. So that was just really what I gave was my education, a little bit of some of my professional background. But I've been doing other work as well. You know, I serve as class president from first grade straight to 12th grade. Every class I was in, I served as the class president. In the 11th grade, I served as student council vice president. Tony Tan was my president, and I was very happy. I will say something. I was running as a representative candidate in district number 4 before I was called to be a vice standard bearer to someone I admire so much. But during that process, Tony Tan, the guy who I served as his vice president, told me something very special. He said that, you know, I established a business, things are very hard on me right now. But one thing I can do is to be able to vote for you. So come in your district, I will register in your district, I will go back in your district and vote for you. And that's my contribution. If anything, I want to say thank you very much, Tony Tan. I want to recognize your effort because I work with you as a vice student council president. You have been president. You realize my potential and you're able to do that sacrifice. So I want to say in this public manner, thank you very much. But anyway.
Now coming to you accepting to be a running mate to Councillor Gonglo, what prompted that?
So the Land Councillor and we have worked on the land right law between 2010 and 2016. At the time I was working with the Land Commission. Before going to the States, I came back 2 or 3 times a year, continued to work. I review a lot of policy papers that were emailed to me. Some of the policy papers are also reviewed by Councillor Gonglo at the Land Commission. We talk a lot. We talk about family matters. We talk about our vision for Liberia, struggles we are going through, and everything about Liberia. So we knew one another very well from that point. Then in 2020 or 2021, I heard that he was running for the presidency, but I think that's at a later stage in 2021 because we have funded the grassroots authority movement, and then my friend Josiah Jokai is the chairman for the USA and the larger diaspora. I am the chairman for Liberia. One of the things we've been doing with the grassroots authority movement is to be able to build a character, to be able to bring people together, because we feel that Liberia actually has a lot of good people, but the good people are not connecting with one another as compared to the way the corrupt people are connecting to one another. So the goal of the grassroots authority movement is to be able to fill that gap so that the good people can connect. Through that process, we develop a award system where we call individuals and award them. We don't really want anything from them. So the Freedom Award, we give it to one Liberian in a year. So Councillor Gonglo received the 2021 Freedom Award, and the award was brought from the United States. We don't want anything in return, so we also awarded him that as well. So I've been running as a representative candidate for district number 4, and then also thinking about that. One tree cannot make a forest. I begin to think deeply. A house that is that corrupt, a house that is always thinking about individual benefit, a house that has turned the Liberian government here upside down, turned our democracy upside down, where lawmakers are becoming to implement the function of the executive in a way that they appropriate money onto themselves, something they call legislative project, so that they don't really hold the executive accountable anymore because they want to go and implement their project. And they are politicians. They don't have anybody. They don't really accountable. They are not accountable to anybody as compared to the way they're supposed to hold the rest of the two branches of government accountable. I was thinking about how do I deal with this stuff. Somebody described the scenario to me when I explained to them Mr. Jackson Konisia, an excellent man who based in the Panta area, who himself is providing a lot of educational opportunities for Liberians, children in that part of Liberia. We spent a lot of time. He said that what you explained to me is very good, but I see you like a worm in a can of ants. They're going to tear you apart. Thinking about that, I decided to under the grassroots alternative movement. I discussed with Mr. Bob Johnson and others, and we came up with the idea of forming a group called the Change Makers Network. What we did with the Change Makers was that, or what we are still doing, because we're still working with our team, is that we take a district, the fresh 3 to 4 candidates named are up in the press. We put them under the microscope. We set up a committee. Mr. Urey Yarkpawolo is the head for that committee to be able to identify who has the best character in terms of good human being, who is accountable. And normally I will place the call to the person. We have started a movement called the Change Makers Network. But we want you to join us because we want to go as a force of good for Liberia. We don't want to go in our house and be scattered all around so the rest of the corrupt people can also corrupt us, or we don't have any individual weight.
Well, what would say you don't have an evidence for referring to the house in general as being corrupt and all of that? There are people of stature, there are people of discipline, and good human beings there too.
I do agree with you. And that's the reason why there are good people there, but they're having a decimal impact because they are so few in number, but also they are not holding together in the way that their goodness is supposed to demonstrate to the Liberian people that they are good. Anyway, I'm talking about why I was running as a representative candidate. This is very important. And what strategy we were putting into place so as to transform the House of Representatives. So we started meeting, but one idea also popped out. Banks are supposedly don't recruit criminals. Before you work in the bank, I think you're supposed to be a good person because you're going to take care of money and other people's money. But yet, those who work in the bank, they are also cameras. So when you enter the bank, they are all, when you are working, they check your background, they know you are good, but still, they want to get extra layer of protection for the people's money. So they have camera. So what we did with the group was that then they developed, get used in that scenario, let's develop an agreement that we can be able to publish our values. Let's publish our value, what the problem we're trying to solve, the methodology of solving the problems. If we don't solve the problems, what should be our punishment? That is in conformity with the Constitution. That document went through a lot of the review processes. It just remained for the group to meet and sign it. That process is ongoing. When I got this invitation to serve, or the search committee approached me and said that we are the search committee for the Learning Councillor Tiangongro. We have studied you and we came to you to say that we can follow your name as 3 persons' name. He will choose one. I was very surprised. That was surprising to me because I was not expecting this. But also, it was amazing. Because you know why? I admired Councillor Tiangongro so much so that even though I was not running campaign for him in my district openly, but I kept telling my team members that the person who can transform this country is Councillor Tiangongro, and my vote is for him. I kept telling my team member, You can add Joshua Banner, who is a team leader, John Mangill. You can add the rest of the team, John and Paul, all of them. I talked to them about it over and over. So for my name to be service that I was being considered, so at that moment I had an instant kind of way to grab this opportunity, really, in terms of this man who I admire now that he's coming to me to be his able assistant. However, I needed to build consensus with my people. So I rushed back to Bond County, got a team together. We discussed it. We had a whole day of discussion on a Friday. The team agreed, but the team also wanted to see him. So when I called him and said I will come tomorrow, that Friday I was supposed to travel to Canada. I actually was ready, my ticket, everything booked that Friday night. I was supposed to go to Canada in the US. But I was forced to cancel that flight because this is a national calling, and my team member wanted to see the political leader who is interested in me working with him. So that was important. So Saturday, the Homewood councillor, when I met with my team, the team discussed, had 3 hours discussion with him. They agreed and also said to him, come in the district so that we can inform our elders, our opinion leaders in the district, which he also agreed and followed up when and built enough consensus for more than 300 opinion leaders from my district. And my district took my hands and laid in the hands of the councillor. So we are here now, and I want to say I'm very, very happy and very, very supportive. I believe in the councillor. I mean, he is the best to change Liberia, and this opportunity is now. He is the best person. He has the charisma, he has the stamina, by examples, everything he had done in the past. I mean, we say that, how do we know that somebody is good, Julius? How do you know that somebody is good? I mean, we are not God to go into somebody's head to predict the person's future. The yardstick we can use is the person's past behavior.
Okay.
Because we can study the person's past behavior carefully. The person has been good over many years, has stood the test of time. We can be able to predict the person is likely to be good in the future.
I know I've had Councillor Congo here for some time, but on different occasions, and we keep talking about his vision, fight against corruption, the economy, and things that he's concerned about as a running mate to him. What makes his vision to stand out? What are key points that you want to reiterate here?
I think the key point is what I say during my acceptance speech. They're going Wednesday. I mean, they're going Saturday in Banga. What I did was basically to be able to break down the natural resources in a piece of cola. And I showed the audience, this piece of cola is the natural resources. Call it the gold, the diamond, the tree, the forest, and the water system, and everything we have that can be turned into money, the land. The problem with this resource is that it's finite, it can be finished, okay? Our population is growing. For instance, the land itself is not growing. When you take the gold, I told my listeners, from Town all the way in Korea district, when you get that gold is not coming back because it took billions of years to be established, to be formed. So when you take it, it's gone. Call that the piece of cola. The cola itself encapsulates the budget. So that's the national budget. So we raise the money all over from the taxes. We call that the budget. So what has been happening and what we see in Liberia is that the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, those who are heading public corporations, they take a big size of the budget. They take so much big size that we don't have enough. And I was doing it, I was actually biting the cola when I was telling the audience that if this is the case, and to build hospitals and make sure that tablets are available so that those who are working in the clinic are not get prescribing, but they actually have the treatment to offer the people. What is left to provide quality education from kindergarten all the way to college level. These days, sometimes when people pay college, high school, YFE, everybody club, you're paying YFE. But do you know that sometimes when you study the history, go in the archive, schools in Liberia were actually free, like they are in the United States. Students didn't have to pay wire fee. This was not anything an individual could be paying and take credit. It's a responsibility of the government to be able to do that. But what is left? And I went further to tell the audience, the little one in my hands, during election time, I took another bite and told the audience, they're going to come back again. This is the one they're going to purchase the laptops. They're going to be able to bring the money and say they're giving the fictitious loan programs. All our women are giving you loan. This little one, that's the one that they're going to fool the public so the public can vote them. And then the cycle start all over again for a period of 6 years. And I told them, Councillor Gungu is coming to change that.
How?
Well, I just pick another caller, call it the budget. So executive, we eat very tiny amount. The judiciary, those who are in public offices, very little bite. And there's still a big bite to pay the civil servants. Because when there's money available to pay the police officers, pay the military, those who are working in the bottom ladder of the government, they get good pay. They also pay taxes, and the taxes also circle back to the government. So we broaden the economic base that way and took another big bite. This is put it towards education. We cannot have a country without a good educated population. And I took another bite, saying put it towards health. So that's exactly what Councillor Gungu is doing. And that's why he demonstrated with the broom. And the broom, the symbol of the broom, of course, it can be used for unity. Of course, when you take one, you can break it, but the whole thing is difficult to break. So one message of unity that the councillor is preaching. But he also talking about this big bite these people are eating. In more instances, the eating is coming through corruption. And the point here is that we use the broom, and the broom is a symbol of cleanliness. So we use the broom to be able to sweep corruption out of government. Let's sweep government so that the money is free to improve the lives of the people.
That is about the budgeting process, and different ministries and agencies are sending their budget and all of that. It is the legislature's role to appropriate, to allocate, a lot and do all of those kinds of things. So it is one thing to be saying that the executive will get small, legislature will get small, but you may not be controlling the legislature to really direct what they do or what they not do in terms of allotting the budget.
There's something is happening in Liberia. It's bad, but it can be good also. Let me explain. The presidency in Liberia is overly powerful. The president literally determines who's going to be the Senate pro tem. The president determines who's going to be the speaker. So that makes the president really powerful, almost an imperial president. But it's bad when that power is in the hands of the wrong person. When the power is in the hands of the right person, the person can use that power to change the country around. And the land councillor is well positioned to do that. So when you're asking me that the national legislature, they have their own power, that's exactly the point. The point here is that we will work with them to get it right. And the thing about it is that corruption is not difficult to fight in Liberia. Corruption is not really hard to fight. You just got to take the political will. You have to have the political will to take audit report and set a committee, investigate people who are implicated into audit report. You send them to court. They are found guilty, and you send them to jail, and their properties are seized and turned over to the government. You can't need to do that with few people. And other people working in your administration, they will know that you are serious. But to do that yourself, you have to be corruption-free. You can't do that when you yourself you are corrupt. And the thing I know about the councillor is that he is not corrupt. So I believe in him. And because you can't be corrupt and you think that you're going to sweep corruption out of Liberia, that's not possible. But the councillor is not corrupt. And so we're going to help him to be able to achieve the target for Liberia, change Liberia for good.
Now, this is a democracy, and it's not like a job interview where they say bring your CV and the best person is chosen. It's about the will of majority of the people going your way. One of the problems is the fact that a whole lot of people say, oh, Councillor Gungu, that good man, he's a stinking strong, but the people will not yet vote for him. Like George Weah and Joseph Walker Popular and all those kinds of things. How do you react to that? How how do you encourage people to to see you as the actual alternative?
The Liberian people, they realize that they want to change their country. They want their children to go to school. They want to have better account. I mean, when I speak to the people back in the interior, I ask them how many people here have better account, how many people here working and earning money, and you hardly see anything coming up. But when you ask them, do you want that? They say they want it. I think if the Liberian people were not realizing that they really want change, Councillor Gongro will not be at almost, you know that when the court they talk about, of course, the incumbent, they talk about others, but you know that a lot of opinion poll are now putting him around, third place, to be honest with the statistics and other things. So his popularity has surged, and I think if we continue to work together, especially me coming on board with my people and the young people of this country, many of whom admire me so much because I'm also a leader within their community. I work with them throughout. We coming on board, you can realize that there's a possibility we will end up in a runoff, and when we go in a runoff, we're going to win the election. So I don't want to say that some few people will say that he's not popular, but he's popular.
They are winning on first ballot. Unity Party is also saying that.
Well, everyone can say anything they want to say, but the reality will speak for itself on October 12th. October 10th. The councillor by himself, he had been in over 300,000 villages. He been in places like Grand Jules, slept in, I think, the late president home, and all of those places as a symbol of unity. So we have great support from Grand Jules. Of course, Nima Kante, they want to produce a president, so that's very clear. And Bon County, there's a big contrast there now in terms of who has the voice in Bon County as we get into
the Unity Party was there a day before you people also went there. And I saw numbers of people, even though crowd politics doesn't carry me. But what does that say? There is Joao Taylor, who is from Bon County on the CDC, the governing party ticket. You are also coming from there on the LPP ticket. That's LPP, right? And then there is Prince Maury, who is a very strong senator in support of Joseph Boycott. Bon County, with good numbers too, seems to be up for grabs.
Well, we are there. And some of the programs were quite funny. People try to plan their program within our programs or at the ease of our program, and they do all kinds of things to try to undermine our program. But our program was the most successful. You can see it from the crowd, you can see it from the organization of the people, you can see it with the discipline of the turnout. And in fact, the people who turn out, two-thirds of the people who supposed to come did not really come. I literally have to speak to various districts across Bon County and informing them that I would take the councillor to their district because it was not necessary to try to get everybody to Banga. So the group that showed up in Banga for us, they were just a fraction of the people who actually wanted to come. So but this is democracy. So we will fight, but our fight is very clear, and our fight is a winning fight because we are on the right side of history. We're standing for the people. We have stood for them in the past.
What sort of vice president will you be?
A vice president that is well qualified, a vice president that is willing to help the president to drive his agenda, because the agenda is the Liberianization policy in a way that Liberia would take ownership of their economy, ownership in the true meaning of the word, not just saying it by mouth. So my role will be to support him. And through these elections, I'm going to do that. We're going to win, and then after that, I'm going to support him to the fullest, because you know why? He's not only going to be the president, but he also a personal mentor to me. So I'm going to follow him. He has a light, and we are there to carry the torch for him. Things that he wants us to do, we'll do it because it is in the interest of the Liberian people. So we're just going to help the councillor to achieve his 10-point agenda, the agenda to transform Liberia for good, to change the narrative of this country so that legacy is there. You know why? culture is the dominant behavior of a group of people. One culture we have in Liberia today is free speech. For some reason, I can also give some credit to the administration before this one in terms of allowing the space for free speech. And so Liberia started to talk on radio. And a government who want to start that, you become infamous. The same thing we need to do about corruption, the same thing we need to do about other bad behaviors in government. Government is not a place of wealth creation. We create the necessary avenue for the private sector to grow. So those who want to become millionaires, those who want to build mansions, they go into the private sector and be able to make their money from there. When you come into government, be a public servant. Come to government to serve the people, not to serve yourself. True servant leadership. A course I teach at a graduate level is called servant leadership, and we can take some time to talk about that.
His name is Dr. Yarkpawolo. This was just to know you, to really hear your story and all of that. In the near future, we'll go into the real policy debate and policy discourse and different kinds of things to talk about: the health sector, the educational sector, the economy, infrastructure, and all those kinds of things. But let's go to the lines and hear from Liberians. 0777 700 995, 0555 995 995. Our next guest will be Representative Vincent Willie of Grand Bassa County. Let's take your calls. The international line should also be pinned. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Julia. I want to say thank you to Emmanuel K. This is the burning man that we are looking for. The burning man who will speak, talk the issues, who will speak that nobody will be looking behind, who will speak and people will follow. We're not looking for burning man because the burning man are burning that will get 3 million to somebody to go. We're looking for burning man
So who gave who 3 million to
No, that one will be another thing. Why I'm saying this is the person we are about, like we are about. This is the person that we don't be able to talk. The two questions, Councilor Gondo and Dr. Yarkpawolo, they can't be separate because they get the same ideology, they get the same thinking, and they are corruption free, and we're really like ready to we are there for you, Dr. Yarkpawolo. My name is Victor Permanent, and I'm from National Street.
Thanks so kindly. Thanks so kindly for your call. Let's see who's on this side. Welcome. What's your name? Yes, go ahead. I don't know what my producer is. You have to look at the WhatsApp number on the screen. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Thank you for having me. My name is Ibrahim Barang. I'm talking about Let me firstly appreciate you guys for the talking points, and more especially the studio guests. And the studio guests are very good, energetic young man, and I think it would be better for him to contest in the district rather than him being chosen as a fire running mate, which of course he has no political numerical strength has been tested in these elections. So it was better for him to contest in the district to know his strength.
You the one will tell him where to contest and where not to contest?
No, it's not me. I know him from Salvation Army because I attended Salvation Army for 4 years. And most of the last school, I've been seeing him, been having some interaction as far as him being president of the Polytechnic. So I know him personally, but it would be a better thing for him to have contest for the representative position because
But my man, the man was going for representative position, and someone saw the good in him and chose him as one of the things. The man always said no. He's always there go to representative position. I'm not gonna. Is he good to be representative?
Here's my point. In the contemporary politics of our country, you will find out that most of those persons who fight for presidential positions or that want presidential position come from the national legislature. That
is what you think. But can I ask you? So all the people that have been chosen as vice presidents, vice presidential candidates, are they better than Dr. Yarkpawolo?
There are more people better than him in terms of numerical strength because some of those.
What is the meaning of numerical strength?
In terms of being tested in a particular constituency, in a particular district, to know if
how they got those numbers? So you don't think what is it about how long you've been there, or is it about Liberians seeing you as being a qualified person or having the ability to be what you want to be and they go for you?
So the thing about it in the context of our society.
No, it is not a contest about our society. It is a contest about you. I am trying to gauge your mentality on deciding who your leader is. What do you look for?
It's not about my mentality.
No, that you don't want calling. Don't be no, Chief. You're not going to talk for other people. That you call on a line and you will talk for yourself. My question is, what do you look for when you deciding who to be your president, your vice president, your lawmaker?
So there are so many reasons why people put people into power. Sometimes personal relationships.
I'm asking you. Don't talk for people. You.
I'm saying there are so many reasons. Some people, or even me included.
Now you want to talk. Yeah.
Sometimes vote for people on the basis of personal relationships.
So in this particular election, who is your presidential candidate?
My presidential candidate is the president of the Republic of Liberia. I support him on the basis of a numerous contributions to the growth and development of the state.
But I don't know why you wasting my time. See you. You already don't get me not giving advice. I should have asked you that question ever since, but sorry. Welcome. What's the name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead. Let's hear you.
For me, I got nothing more to talk. I just want for the charter to take my number and then from the people more asking for him.
Yeah. Come to the poor party headquarters. They
Why is located?
Before he goes, he will say all of that. Okay. Let's go international. Let's see who's right here. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon, Juliet.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Well, Julius, I'd just like to say, you see, what wasted integrity individuals always look for people to manipulate. I don't want to be too definite about the fact that your character is very decent, your integrity is very decent, sir, because I don't know you, and I cannot question that. But I know for a fact that since Mr. Gongo has existed in our public space, in all of the places he has served, there is no record that we can trace to identify that yes, indeed, he had made an impact. And you talk about the land right law. Today, we still have people selling and reselling people land, confusion all around the place because of land. And they are trying to with him. But Mr. Gongo have served at the Liberian Bar Association. There is no record we can trace of any transformation there.
Okay, thanks. So kindly we'll hold that. Let's take others. I think my next guest should be around, but let's take a few more. Let's still remain international. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Julius, this is Angola Mambe. I call from the United States. Dr. Yarkpawolo, I just wanted to say congratulations on your preferment by Councillor Gongolo, and I have a question for you. I know you live your life, spend your resources, your time, you dedicated your research to solving an historical problem in Liberia, which is land issue, but specifically on identifying and recognizing indigenous people, the people in the villages, recognizing their rights to land, recognizing women's rights to land. You spend your time, your resources, your energy, and your research and your education to ensuring that happen. How are you going back to your people to connect them to the message that passing a law is not sufficient? And in Liberia, we are noted for passing and not implementing laws, and that you are the best person to be able to sit and enforce and work for the enforcement of the implementation of the land and right law. I just wanted you to speak about how you're trying to connect your message to the people you work with in the villages to get the land right law passed.
Okay, thanks. So kindly, let's take two more. Then we'll come back to him to wrap up. I'm hearing sounds. I think the next guest is here. Welcome. What's the name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon, Julius.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Well, thank you. My name is Sekou Sharif, and I've joined the conversation from New Georgia, District 13.
Go ahead.
Julius, I think it has been quite an interview. Let me commend the studio guests that have spoken very well. Those are people that are within in national leadership. Clearly articulating his point of view on the subject matter. So, for me, I think if no one has convinced me as a running mate or as a vice president, then it's equal about to become a president. The man has clearly explained to you, he has narrated his story for youth days coming up, all of his achievement, all of that, the national politics, all of that, you know, the man is quite a leader. I'm astonished and I'm ecstatic by his efforts this evening. Thanks so much for having me, and I hope to establish contact with him to see that there again.
Thanks so kindly. He will say where their party headquarters is. Welcome. What's your name?
Yeah, good afternoon, Julia. Good evening.
Yes, you are my second to last caller. Quickly.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to say thanks so much to your guest. Thanks so much. I heard about this guy one time on Clarice show, and I follow him. And I've been listening to him on so many things, right? I like his articulation. I like his platform. I like his story. It's so you know. I found myself in his story. Seriously, a boss man. Gongo is a man that I've been following. He's a man of integrity. And since I now established I'm not linked with any political party and any political regime, I want to really, in the public manner, please support my membership with the party. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks so kindly as well. The final call, international. Welcome. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
That call from Paris. I just wanted to little bit agree with the young man that you were asking those questions. Why the young man cannot run as representative? For me, I buy the idea because Councillor Gongo is a very good man, as I told him the other time on your program. But very unfortunately, he's not going to win the elections in Liberia
Why?
this time.
Why?
You know,
Why?
His sincerity it will be overshadowed by the two important candidates and the two front runners, Joseph Barker and George Weah.
Who made them front? Who made them front runners?
It is clear that Joseph Barker and George Weah.
No, I'm asking a question. Who made them? Is it not the same? Is it not we, the Liberian people, that made them front runners?
It is the Liberian people.
Front runner. Wait now. Ask me. I gotta take my question easy. Did George Weah and Joseph Barker and anybody say you supposed to be for me or you supposed to vote for me or you got to do it? And we the Liberian people all by ourselves. Decided say and all decided we for George Weah, we decided we for Barker, we decided we for Konu, we decided we are for this person. So if we the same people say no, we won't be for George, we won't be for George, I won't be for Konu, we won't be for Gonglo. Will George Weah and Joseph Barker do anything to us? They'll go take Rattan and start whipping us? So what now? Okay. Thanks. Okay, the next guest is here. We'll go back to our guests. But I guess we never say, you know. Yeah. Anyway, it's okay. But tomorrow I'll have my time to talk. You can go ahead, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm here laughing too. I'm like questions about the work we did with the land right law. Of course, we will always give credit to our partner civil society, but also a willing government at that time that helped us to do this together. But there's a documentary, you can Google that, The Land Beneath Our Feet. Get Google that word, The Land Beneath Our Feet. So that documentary is a very powerful tool. The documentary followed my activities between 2012 and 2016 when we worked on the land right law. It was produced by a London cinematographer and an American professor. It had won several international awards. So we take the documentary and get show it to the people. When we show it to the people, when they watch it, I mean, they get see everything. We don't even need to talk much. I have been to villages where I have seen women dancing come to me. They've seen the documentary, and some of them say they were not going to vote anymore, but because they heard I was going there, they're going to vote. We have seen those kind of testimonies. But somebody said, "Oh, the law has not taken any effect." No, the law has actually taken effect. There are communities in Liberia now that are getting their land right document because of this law. In fact, Front Page Africa published a very important story the other time about a lady. This lady, her husband passed away. And then they were trying to, they said she got to marry the brother before she can inherit the land. And she didn't like the brother of the deceased. So there was a good Samaritan nearby and told this family that, hey, we have a law now that grants women land right, the right to this land. If you try to do anything, try to remove this woman, I'm going to take you to the court. And because of that particular family did not take the woman off the land. You see that? So that's, I mean, one story like that is very moving. So it's very good. And of course, to all of our callers, many callers, I want to say thank you very much. The party headquarters is located opposite the Philadelphia Church. On the that's the boulevard going out to Pinsville. So when you just
that's in the Congotown area.
Yeah, the Congotown belt. So you can stand to that Philadelphia Church and get a look at the B-side. You see many flags there. That's where the party office is. In term of. But call us if you want to get more information. I give you one number here. 60.
No, you gotta say 077.
Yeah, yeah, 08886082224. So you call that number. 08888, that's 0888, then 608 and 224. Call that number to be able to get more information about our work, and then we'll be in touch.
Thanks so kindly for being here.